night. It was a crossroads with an old filling station, now shut down, a 4-unit motel that had probably been dismal in its prime, but was currently clearly vacant and boarded up, and what had been a diner, a squat building that had mostly fallen in upon itself. That reminds me, we still need to clear that second escape tunnel from the bunker. They'd discovered the passage ended beneath a collapsed building, and Margrave assured her it would be easy enough to build up a protective structure, not visible from the outside, to permit its use. The voice in her head offered no comment on that particular plan, and she sighed in relief. She came around a bend and spotted the gas station ahead to her right, opposite the diner on her left. The once motel held a position on the diagonal from the gas station across the intersection. A glint caught her eye from a place where a glimmer shouldn't be, the roof of the squat building that serviced the fuel pumps. It preceded the sound by only an instant, the report of a rifle loud and echoing in the empty desert. Guess there's no need for a silencer out here, her brain supplied unhelpfully. The bike jerked and flipped, sending her hurtling through the air. Front tire hit, her mind offered, again with no particular benefit. Her reflexive force shield, which had saved her when the bar at the Mist had exploded in her face to welcome her back to town, was already forming around her. She automatically calculated angles and trajectory, allowing the protective cocoon to solidify before using more force magic to cushion her landing and keep her from scraping her way across the road. Feedback from the impact and continued motion transmitted through the shield as a sensation similar to pain, but nothing like the real damage and agony the accident would have caused. She wobbled up to her feet, shivering with adrenaline. The involuntary meeting with the ground had spiderwebbed her faceplate, and she pulled off the helmet and dropped it to the pavement. She'd landed more or less in the middle of the intersection before sliding through it. Motion drew her eye as the 3 figures advancing toward her, one from the diner, one from the gas station, and one from the hotel. The third was the nearest, so she charged that one. The figure was human, a woman, and raised a rifle in response to her rush. It spat bullets out at her in a stream, and Ruby slashed her hand across on a diagonal, creating an angled shield to intercept and deflect them. No way they've got anti-magic rounds. If they were that competent, they wouldn't have missed me and hit the bike in the first place. She didn't make the mistake of assuming they were amateurs. Probably they were very good at what they did, but no one would send their most expensive team against Ruby Achera. There would be no reason, since as far as the world knew, she was the dilettante adopted human daughter of wealthy parents. Entrepreneur. Innovator. The words she'd used with her family in jest filtered through her mind randomly. Ruby snarled, "Okay, wench, innovate this." At a distance of 10 feet, she sent a large force wave at the other woman, throwing her backward toward the motel. Ruby continued running, feeling the presence of the rest of the enemy team. If she stopped, they'd be in range in an instant. As it was, handgun rounds splatted near her, but none connected. Even if they had, her personal shield, which lay a couple of inches away from her skin, would have dealt with them handily. As long as they aren't super heavy caliber, that is. The things she'd read suggested that a big enough bullet could deliver sufficient kinetic energy even through a shield to take her out of the fight, and without anyone around to help her, that would likely be fatal. The woman pushed herself to her feet, with her back pressed against a plywood panel, covering the entrance to one of the middle units for support. Ruby strengthened her shield, pumped some magic into her muscles to increase her speed and strength, and slammed into her foe, leading with her shoulder. In the instant before impact, her opponent's eyes widened, and she tried to bring the rifle up towards Ruby's face. It got caught between their bodies as the collision blasted the woman back through the plywood, sending both of them tumbling into the room. Dust and the scent of sour mold filled her senses, and she gagged before launching another force wave outward to clear the air of nearby particles. The plaster in the ceiling cracked, the walls creaked, and moving things on the floor scuttled further away. The woman under her groaned weakly, and Ruby lifted far enough to whip an elbow into the woman's head, knocking her out at a minimum. It wasn't time for niceties, not with at least 2